Hey, if you've been following my content, you know that I gained like probably 40 pounds this past year, and I'm starting to lose some of it, but it was a really tough year. And yeah, I was eating raw for a few years. I mean, I've been off and on raw vegan for many years, but I just kept yo-yoing back and forth. So right now I'm just doing whole food, plant-based diet, and I'm not doing any seasonings, any spices, any oil, no salt, not even pepper, like nothing on it, just plain. And this is to battle, combat my food addiction. So I'm sure many people have food addiction. They just don't know it. And, giving up the things that you love really like shows you where your addiction is coming from. So I just want to get to the root of the addiction. And I'm not really, so worried about health right now and, being perfect as I am just trying to work through the emotional cravings. So I'm not stressing like trying to eat raw or anything like that, especially gourmet raw, because for me, when I would eat raw, I still had like this insatiable cravings for deliciousness, for flavors and tastes. And we'd have like raw cheesecakes or raw ice cream, and we're like, what can we make? And, it's just like this obsession with food. And I mean, you can even do it with fruit, like just fruit, fruit, fruit. So I'm just doing vegetables and beans and like whole grain, a little bit of like rice. Actually, I think I'm going to cut back on the rice, but I was doing Ezekiel bread. So organic Ezekiel bread, the salt-free version. So it has no oil. It's organic. It's flourless. It's sprouted. And I was doing that to curb the cravings. As I'm trying to do this whole food plant-based diet to lose weight, I'm only drinking water. I'm not drinking anything else other than water. And the bread, I feel like I was losing weight, but it's a lot of gluten. So today's day 4 without any bread. So I haven't had gluten in 4 days. My face does feel a bit thinner and my skin looks more clear without the bread. But I kind of replaced it with rice, and I feel like the rice is kind of like the bread had a lot of fiber, and I was going to the bathroom regularly, and I feel like the rice is kind of clogging me up a little bit. But I feel like I need the rice right now because, yesterday, it's been a really hard few days emotionally. Like I've really been going through some kind of dark night of the soul, and it's just been waves like coming and going, and I'm just releasing. I don't even know, like there's stuff coming up. Like yesterday, something came up and I had this resentment towards my husband about a vacation that we went on years ago. And I just brought it up and I was like crying about it. And, like just the strangest things are coming up for me. But today I woke up and on my walk, I was smelling like breakfast because I've been having like really intense cravings. And I feel like what the cravings are is like as I'm releasing and processing the emotions that I had pushed down with food, and when you're not doing that, because like I'll be like having a craving, like, and I'm like hungry, but it's not physical hunger, it's emotional hunger. And my husband's like, well, why don't you have like some cucumbers or an apple? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want that. That's not what I want. What I want is the comfort. So I know it's not physical hunger because I have food. I'm like, that's not what I want. I want something that's going to numb the feeling that's coming up. So I'm not numbing it and it's just coming up and I'm just sitting there feeling it. And, sometimes I'm crying, sometimes I feel angry, sometimes I feel sad, but I'm just kind of working through it. Luckily, my husband is here and he's like helping me through it. And I was on my walk today and there was people making breakfast and I could smell it. And then I think I kept walking and I smelled like fresh chili. And I was just, as I'm smelling all these smells, like the soups and everything, it was like my mouth didn't water. I didn't feel like I wanted to eat it. It didn't make me hungry. It was like I just got to this point, and I've had these experiences before where you smell food and you just enjoy the smell of it. but it really just took me back like a time travel, like a time machine. And it took me back to this nostalgic time of my childhood, like my teenage years when my mom was making breakfast and I could smell the fresh fruit and the eggs and the potatoes or whatever she was making, right? And then, the same thing with the soup, like just all this, the flavors and the spices, because I haven't had any spices. And that it was almost like how you smell essential oils and it shifts your perception, like your consciousness almost feels expanded. It kind of like transports you, it was like having a spiritual experience. It really felt, I don't even know how to explain it, but I was just smelling these and I felt like these waves of euphoria just from smell. And I was just enjoying it. I was just appreciating the smell without feeling like that craving or that addiction, like I wanted to go eat something. So that's the freedom that I want to get away from addiction, is like not to constantly be thinking about food. I grew up in an Italian American home and food was our life. Food was our world. It revolved around every day. We were talking about what are we going to have for dinner? What are we doing this? And, every single birthday party, event, family gathering, everything revolved around the food. So that has kind of like pushed me to want to, get away from like it ruling my life. And then, I went raw vegan, and then that kind of became the sole focus of my addiction, And then this past year, I went through like a really hard time emotionally. I went through some stuff with family and my son and just my meetup group and everything. And I just kind of like went into seclusion, and I didn't have any like social interactions. And I mean, I published 38 books this past year, but I kind of let go of all my self-care habits. I let go of my workouts and I just put weight on, but I was happy because I was eating whatever the heck I wanted. Vegan, of course. I was still eating vegan, but if I wanted vegan junk food or bread or whatever it was, vegan butter, vegan cheese, like the packaged processed stuff, I just allowed myself to have it, and it was just numbing myself this past year. So now I'm just doing the whole food plant-based. My husband does this. He does whole food plant-based, and he doesn't do any salt or oil or sugar. So I feel like he's gotten to a really strong place mentally with food, and he's not tempted at all. Like we go to restaurants, we go to parties, like he brings his own food. His discipline, his consistency with his diet is so admirable. And, I don't even know how he has that kind of discipline. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing no processed food, especially now that I'm not eating the Ezekiel bread. I'm not going to say that I won't have the bread anymore, but I would like to give up, the bread. And, I don't really want to have the gluten in my body. I was only eating it because I felt like I needed it mentally and emotionally so that I didn't kind of go on a binge or whatever looking for processed food or even like French fries or something like that, So no sugar, no salt, no oil, no processed food, plain whole foods. That's it. That's all. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know where it's leading me. I don't know where it's taking me, but I am on a crazy spiritual journey right now. Today I feel better, but man, the past couple of days, it was like dark night of the soul, like so much coming up, and it's weird. It's almost like my life feels like it's flashing before my eyes, and I could just see so many memories all at once, and it's like really intense, and I can feel everything all at once, like everything that I felt, like just I think I'm like a very like perceptive and intuitive person anyway, and I think I'm clairvoyant. Like I have visions and stuff, and I get visions of the future and I get visions of my past, and I can see things from like, I could see many different perspectives at once. I feel like I could just, and sometimes it gets like so intense, and maybe that's why I have like, addiction towards food, or maybe that's why I have an addictive personality because, I think we all do in some sense, right? But I've given things up. I've given binge watching TV shows. I've um, given up, what are the things, scrolling nonstop on social media. Like I'm on social media posting and doing stuff, but it's for a purpose and I'm not just doom scrolling. I've given up, partying. I've given up drinking. I've given up smoking. I've given up drugs. I've given all that stuff up, So for me, it was like the last thing I was holding on to was food for pleasure. So I'm like, I don't want to eat for pleasure, right? I was even like wanting to be a breatharian and just give up food completely because I just want the freedom. I don't want to feel like I'm not in control of what I put in my body. So, I was like doing a lot of fasting and everything, but it's like let's say, I don't know. I don't even know if it's possible to be a breatharian. And it's not even like, I'm not even saying I have the goal. I'm just saying I like the idea. I feel called toward that lifestyle. I feel like I don't want food to rule my life. I'm not saying I will try to become a breatharian. Like if it happened, whatever. But point is, what do I really want? I really just want freedom from not being in control, right? So, and what I mean by not being in control is that, let's say somebody has diabetes and they know that sugar is going to, cause them to be really unhealthy and they could lose a leg or something like that, but they're so addicted they can't stop eating the sugar or the bread or, the alcohol, whatever it is that's, spiking their blood sugar. So, that's what I mean, like we obviously have control over what we put in our mouth because like it should be as easy as just don't put it in your mouth. But if that was the case, then so many people would have more, they would be eating healthier. They would stop drinking. They would stop smoking. It's not easy, to quit smoking. It's not easy to quit drinking. So, yeah. So that's what I want. I want to master myself. I want to master my mind. I want to eat only if I'm hungry, right? And how could anyone even become a breatharian? Like if I'm fasting, trying to reach this chronic lifestyle and I can't even say no to a dessert or something, if I don't even have that kind of willpower, that mental capacity or strength, then, I'm skipping steps there. So I'm doing intermittent fasting and like the past 2 days, I only had one meal a day. So I fasted all day until dinner time. So fasting during the day is easy for me. And, yeah. So anyways, point being is that if I have to eat, right? Let's say we can't actually be breatharian. Let's say we can't give up food, water, whatever. Because why do people ever go back to eating food? Even if they give up food, you hear these people with breatharians like, oh, they went 2 years without food or water or without food or whatever. Okay, well then why did they go back to eating? Or, they did like a 40-day water fast. I mean, if we really weren't meant to eat food, then why go back to eating food? And they all say, well, I'm a breatharian, but I can choose to eat if I want to or for pleasure. But if you don't need to, and if you don't need food, and if you've really given up the addiction, then why would you even want to eat for pleasure or because you want to? Where is that need coming from, that desire? So that's what I'm thinking about, the desire, right? Of like, I don't even want to have the desire to eat, like physiological need if my body needs food to survive, because I can't go more than 5 days without water fast or without, I think I did a 5-day dry fast, but like I haven't gotten past 5 days, without food and water. So for me, even if I could become a breatharian, even if that lifestyle is real, because we don't really know what these people are doing, then I'm not there yet, I'm not saying I will ever get there. I'm just saying I don't have that capacity to give up food. So if I need food physiologically to live and to survive, then I just want to eat nourishing foods. And I'm not saying that the whole food plant-based diet is the ideal diet, but I'm saying it is the ideal diet for me to help get over the food addiction that I'm feeling right now. No salt, no sugar, no oil, no processed foods. So, would, like a fruitarian diet be the ideal diet? Probably, but I'm not there either. I'm really not there. So, I'm being honest with myself. I'm being honest. I don't want to lie to myself. I don't want to try to push myself beyond my capability because I've done that before and then I just yo-yo back and forth and I do these extremes of like extreme health of like fruitarianism and fasting and detox. And then I go all the way back the other side because I haven't put those healthy habits in place. I haven't developed the mental strength. I haven't developed the willpower. So it's like, for me, it's a process. It's not really the end result that matters, in my opinion. It's the process of self-discovery. It's like, what am I learning during this time of giving these things up about my addiction, about my emotions, about, my past, about who I am, my identity, all of these things that are coming up for me right now. Like, I'm in a process of transformation. We're constantly in a process of transformation, and I don't want to skip over this step. So, yeah. Anyways, just wanted to fill you guys in a little bit about what I'm doing. And, so I don't know, I got on the scale the other day. I went to a clinic and they weighed me. I was 140. I thought I lost less than that because I thought I gained 30 pounds, but I definitely look a lot thinner than I did. So I must have gained more than 30 pounds. So I'm assuming I gained closer to 40 pounds and now I'm at 140, but I should be closer to like 120 is like my, ideal natural weight. So I still have some work to do. So I'm not eating in restaurants and I have a party that I'm probably going to go to, a raw vegan party on Sunday. But, I'm not going to like go in for like desserts or anything like that. I'll probably just eat before I go and then not eat at the party because gourmet raw food for me is a gateway to just, cooked gourmet food. You know what I mean? So to me, it's a gateway. It has like the spices and the salts and the oils, like raw vegan, some raw vegan can be healthy, but some raw vegan is still feeding my addiction. I'm not saying it does that for everybody, but for me, like, if I'm eating a raw vegan version of something unhealthy that's not vegan or healthy, my brain doesn't correlate the difference. It just sees you're eating ice cream or, you know what I mean? So it's like, if my brain is like, we're still eating ice cream, regardless of whether it's healthy or not, then I'm going to be craving ice cream. And if there's only regular ice cream or not healthy, not raw vegan ice cream, my brain is going to justify, well, we already had ice cream. Let's have ice cream again because that's what we're eating, but if I cut out all desserts, all eating for pleasure, no spices, then, I'm not feeding the dopamine, the pleasure parts in my brain. So I'm trying to fix my brain right now. The chemical, releases of dopamine and serotonin when I eat certain foods, these stimulating, tantalizing, almost orgasmic flavors and tastes. Tantalizing. Okay, so anyways, I will stop talking your ear off and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.